For what we consider love, sir, I would need a Klingon woman.
Welcome to our next episode where we discuss an episode of something else, chiefly named Star Trek TNG. Adam's got his notes. That's amazing. We are going to talk about the 6th episode of season 1 of TNG, which is Where No One Has Gone Before. First aired on the 26th of October, 1987. The UK premiere, air date, 17th of October, 1990. And I double-checked all the other episodes that we reviewed, and I didn't mention this. The BBC got TNG 3 years after. Can you imagine waiting 3 years for a new TV show today?
Yeah.
It's bad enough when the time zone makes it. The Americans get it 8 hours ahead of us, or 8 hours behind. It's like, I've got to wait 8 hours. Blah, 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 blah. We had to wait 3 years, Adam. That's shocking. Anyway, excuse my French. It's the 5th episode of 176, the first of 3 in the Traveller arc, written by Diane Duane and Michael Reeves, directed by Rob Bowman. Name ring a bell?
A little bit.
He did Ring of Fire and Elektra as well.
Oh, wow. I like Ring of Fire. That was a weird film.
And fun fact, he was the second director because the first one quit so he could do Cocoon the Return. Do you remember Cocoon?
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember Cocoon. I remember the sequel was terrible.
He thought, TNG, Cocoon the Return. TNG, Cocoon the Return. Anyway, it was the second to last movie that he ever directed. And the in-universe date is 41263.1, when an experimental engine modification throws the Enterprise to the edge of the known universe. The crew must rely on a mysterious alien to guide the ship home. Dun, dun, dun.
The all-new adventures of Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Adam, quick thoughts on this. Banger of an episode.
I love the beginning of this episode where it starts off where they're with the what's the ship called? The Fearless or something.
Right.
And then the shot is straight away on the bridge, and then you've got Picard just talking about the engines being improved and Starfleet's commissioned it. Riker's got a problem with this, like he's got an issue. He's like, he's not impressed. And Picard's just like just smacking him down straight away. And just going, well, if you've got a problem with it, then you can see him on the transporter and escort him to the engineering if you've got concerns. It's just the way he's just so angry all the time. It's amazing. I just like this version of Picard where he's just pissed off and angry at everything. It's incredible.
Okay. That's the highlight for you. My summary is that I like the fact that this episode gets to the point this time, but at the expense, sadly, of justifying any of the characters' actions beyond the Traveller and barely Kozinski.
I thought it was Kozinski. It's Kozinski, right?
Kozinski, what did I say?
Kozinski? I don't fucking know. He didn't say it.
It's Polish, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. You know, in America, you know when we do Irishman, Englishman, Scottishman jokes, the Irish guy is basically a turd out of the 3 men. Right? He's the thick one, right? In America, you replace the Irishman with a Polishman. That's in their sort of culture of dad jokes or whatever.
Okay,
this guy... He's of Polish heritage, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And I was like, "Whoa, this is a bit stereotypical. What's going on here?" I found some more as well in the episode as we go along.
I just like somebody else from Starfleet again is coming, and they just always seem to be a dick, just all the time. Yeah, a bit too on the nose, a dick as well. You know, just a bit too much, a bit over the top. I found a bit over the top.
But I noticed with what you were saying, Picard is kind of like angry, and Riker's like, he's got a hard-on to be angry today now. And I was like, okay, this is a good dynamic. I like this. I like the fact that they're clashing a little bit, but they take it to like, the episode goes to 9 almost immediately, because by the end of the credits, boom, this guy's an asshole. Riker doesn't like him. Picard doesn't like that Riker's complaining. It's like, oh, this should be the banger, but it kind of like fizzles out because they take their anger out on Wesley. The boy.
What's the boy doing here?
Even like the Kowalski guy is like, boy, step away from that.
They fucking hate him. They hate him so much. They hate him and his stupid jumpers.
Yeah, new jumper today. I have a throat infection, by the way, so I will be coughing, now and again.
Okay.
I'm getting over it. Do you want to jump into good things, or do you want to start with bad things? What would you like? Where would you like to go first?
I got some good things at the top of my list, so we can go. I've got
how many? I've got 8.
I have 6.
One by one, then. You me. Okay.
We can do that. Yeah.
Let's see if we can pick out the same good things.
Can we go first? Yeah, you go first.
Okay. The fact that it keeps saying boy, I find that hilarious and also kind of demeaning to Wesley. But there we go. Okay. That was quick.
It's quick. I Well, mine was, I already said mine before. I've got one of them already set out the way, which is Picard being a dick. But
You like it when Picard's a dick.
I think it's just amazing. These episodes is brilliant. I know he becomes less of a dick as the seasons go on, and he becomes more, this profound Picard and this all knowledgeable Picard later on in seasons. But this one's just fucking fantastic because he's so angry and he's so on point all the time. And he's just so strict and stern. It's just funny.
I liked the special effects, and that's a running theme or running commentary that I have in these first few episodes, because I'm wondering, like, how do they do that? How did they do this? And there was a quote from the visual effects artist. He's called Robert Legato. He said he had to devise the special effects for the end of the universe, and that's in air quotes, based on vague directions in the script. He noted, "I did it simply at home in my basement with water. I had always noticed water reflections on the wall, so I shot multiple layers of that through dissolved mylar bits, whatever fuck a mylar bit is. It was peculiar and bizarre, and I used little suspended moving Christmas lights for the little blinkies. Remember the little blinky, shiny?
Yeah.
That's clever. Really interesting.
That is good.
Yeah, so I like that touch, because it looks like at least the visual effects artist is like trying to make an effort in this episode.
Well, I found this episode a lot better than the previous two that came before it, to be honest. I did kind of like this episode because I didn't know where it was going. Because normally you can have a feel of an episode or something that you're watching and you're thinking, oh, I know where this is going. But this, it's like an acid trip or something. You had no idea where the fuck they were taking this.
They didn't know
it was really strange. No, it was just so weird. I liked it though. I enjoyed it. Creepy alien assistant guy, 7 foot tall assistant. Weird hands,
Eric
creepy
Munoz.
guy. It was just very strange and creepy relationship with Wesley from the get-go. Just this very uncomfortable.
And you
it
like
wasn't meant to be uncomfortable.
Oh,
no,
okay.
it was just I liked it, but it wasn't meant to be uncomfortable. I don't think, but it just the more scenes they had together, it just seemed really uncomfortable.
I thought this was like partly a comment on your childhood experience or something.
I have similar experiences with creepy.
Yeah, I've actually met the guy who played the Traveller, by the way. Eric Munoz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. Yeah, I met him in Blackpool. He went to Blackpool for a Star Trek convention with he and Reginald Barclay. The guy who played Reginald Barclay was the headline guests.
It's like they wanted a John Malkovich type of guy because he sounds a bit like him. And I was like...
Oh, yeah. It was at Norbreck Castle.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where your granddad worked.
Yeah. What was
So
it, like a comet? It was like a convention or something.
Yeah, huge convention, multiple rooms, and then there was some autograph stations in the main area where you do all the trading and stuff. But you could watch episodes, I think, of DS9, like season 3, when the Defiant was like getting banged out by Thomas Riker. But you don't remember that episode? Maybe I'm spoiling things. Whoops. Probably. So Probably. I met him. I got his autograph and don't have it now anymore. But the guy who plays Reginald Barclay, he's an asshole. But we'll get into that in another episode. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
I like the fact that they dressed a fucking pig up, and the pig is supposed to look like a targ, and a targ is supposed to be an angry thing. And Worf is like, oh my god, my pet targ. And there's a science officer just like, this shit don't concern me. I'm just going to stay focused on my screen. There's no reaction. Obviously, that means he has to start acting.
Yeah, they just put like horns on a boar or pig or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
And it was just
it's actually from Russia.
There you go.
Found out.
This is my pet, whatever it is, from Klingon land.
Klingon land, fucking hell. The planet's called Kronos, dude.
Whatever.
Klingon land. Oh, fuck. I love the fact that you're ignorant on this. It's so funny. And I mean that with all due respect, honestly, because it gives me the laughs for this episode and probably many others. Okay, so that science officer, he's got such discipline. He's like, this shit is between you and your targ. I'm fucking computing over here.
On the other side, Tasha's like having a flashback. She's got a cat, and then she gets flashbacks to her planet where she's getting the rape gangs back again.
Well, okay, we're jumping ahead, but that's my next good thing, because not because she's getting raped. Sorry, let me clarify. It's because they actually went to the effort of filming that like 7-second scene, like the dripping water, the pipe, the guys like with the flashlights. I'm like, holy shit, that's probably an expensive like cutaway. But they went there with it. I'm like, okay. Now we know it was not just what she said in the first episode. There's the rape gangs. Yeah. And she saved her cat in the process. And where did those claw marks come from? Did you see on her? Like, those are not guys' claw marks.
From a cat. The cat's like trying to get away from her.
I mean, no man, and maybe unless he's gay and he's got like 2-inch nails, is going to make that kind of like weird. But anyway. Okay, what's your next good thing?
Crew's forts. You see random shots of the crew and all their forts. We touched on it there with them, but You see, like, one of them is is having his lunch or whatever, wherever he is, and he's in an orchestra. The next minute, he's just like, it's gone, and he's just like, whatever. like it's a normal thing to happen.
He sort of does a little frowny face, like, it's done.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
when you're underselling this moment, you should be like freaking out that you were with these famous violinists, and then you're just eating your lunch.
It's just that, and then there's the other scene
though.
where one's a ballerina, like, and Picard walks past, and she's like dancing in a massive open space on the ship somewhere.
Yeah. You just got one of my good ones as well. I like the fact where that guy is imagining fire, right? And he's sweating profusely, and Picard's like, listen, I've got to get past, so stop thinking about fire, please. Right? And the guy literally puts out fire with his fucking mind, and then Picard's like, okay, now get to your station. He's not like, how the fuck did you do that? That's amazing. You put out fire with your mental abilities, dude. First time.
Picard gives no shits. He's just like, get out of my way. Fox. He's like, think of the fire away.
Right. That's amazing. Like that. He's not even an ensign, by the way. He's not even acting ensign. I checked his collar. He's just an unlisted crewman. And he had this psionic ability to kill fire. And Picard's like, okay. And then his justification for leaving is that we're not prepared. The guy put out fire. I don't get it. It seems like we are pretty much prepared.
Do you think like he came across the crewman wearing that skirt that was in the episode, and he was like, just think your pants back on?
You mean from the guy who looks like John Cho?
Yeah.
That's so weird, isn't it?
It's such a weird shot. Like, just randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah, everyone's listening to the Tannoy announcement.
There's so many moments in this episode. There's so many moments throughout these first seasonal episodes that are just random as hell because they don't know what the hell the show is yet, and it's just, you get scenes like that where it's like, what are we doing?
I forgot. I haven't watched this episode in years, so for me, also watching it, I'm like, damn, I'm relearning things and I'm trying to understand it in today's from today's point of view, not as a child. Because I remember watching it as a child and seeing the blinkies, which I thought was amazing. That really got my imagination going. But I don't remember, like, I wouldn't pick up on the nuances of Picard saying, "Put out that fire with your mind, now get back to work." Now it's on a whole new level.
I just like the tone of the show. It's just funny. Like, it's not even meant to be funny sometimes. Just like scenes where characters are interacting, and it's almost comical. Like, I like the interactions of these characters because it seems so weird and strange. Like, Deanna Troi has nothing to do in the show yet, so all she does is like say, "Oh, I'm feeling something," or "I'm feeling that person," or "I'm feeling the emotions." That's all they've got for her. They haven't got anything else for her at the moment. That's all she can do. She's useless at the moment, anyway.
That's true. But one of my good points is from one of the producers, Maurice Hurley, and he says, everything about that episode worked. That's when everyone started to hit their stride a little bit. The casting was good. The Traveler was wonderful. The optical effects were accidentally outstanding. You could feel things starting to come together. And I got it as a good thing, even though I'm like, dude, this episode is like bad. But he's right. The crew are actually working together now. Things are a little bit tighter. You can see the way they interact. You know, Picard gets the recommendations from his crewmates, and Riker knows what he needs to do. So I would say, they're coming together nicely.
Well, they're already planting the seeds of like Wesley being this special sort of character. They've like they give him some progression. They give him some progression in this episode. Like, they finally let him on the bridge. Picard makes him an ensign, gives him responsibilities. So there was some beginning things there.
Fucking blue guy, look at him. Look at him. Didn't do shit. When I was reading the notes about this episode, the director said that pig from Russia fucking stank. And it took him a week to get the smell of pig off his body. I don't know what he was doing with it. The episode listing doesn't say, but he said it was fucking smelly as. Didn't like it.
Just for that one scene.
Yeah, just for that one scene. That's how bad it was, probably. I liked how Picard basically got on the ship, Tannoy system, and he just went, everyone stop fucking daydreaming.
Oh, I remember this. I was going to say this to you.
Right. Do you remember from Peaky Blinders when Tommy is like, no fighting, no fucking fighting, no. And then he looks at the again, he doesn't fight. And Picard reminded me of like, no daydreaming, stop it. Well, and everyone does.
This goes back to another conversation we had, like, about the wide ship, the population on the ship having no idea what the officers or the bridge crew are doing, and yet Picard just making an announcement going, "Everybody send their good thoughts to the Traveler." You'd be like, "What are you on about? Who's the Traveler?"
Yeah, it jumps the gun a bit, doesn't it? In like supposing who knows what on the ship.
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
It's so weird. But I just like the fact that he's telling everyone not to do it, and his chief concern is that they're not ready to be there. But in the 2 examples I've listed, the guy puts out fire and everyone does stop daydreaming. There isn't like crazy shit happening on the bridge anymore. It's just all on the kibosh. So what's Picard's concern? What's he? Yeah, I haven't got anything
my
else to say.
thing is like Riker is never affected by anything. So in the last episode he was never drunk, and in this episode he doesn't daydream.
There are no scantily clad women on the bridge, are there?
No,
not even like a
like,
sexier.
Riker should be like, I'm going to my quarters.
Joy.
You don't want to see my thoughts.
Right. This episode, you could have like played it up even more to make it even crazier. You could have done, but they kept it simple with some certain things like these two people here. It's suggested that they're running away from something, and he's like, "What?"
He just looks and there's nothing there.
Yeah,
I wanted more thoughts. That's my only thing. I wanted this episode to be a bit longer and just have more exploration with all the people and the thoughts. I wanted more thought things. It was just fun.
Look at this woman doing ballet and crazy, and then this guy, best moment. Then it goes on for a long while. It
and then he's like,
attention.
He just shrugs it off. He's just like, oh well.
This bit I want to get to later with you, because this bit, anyway, let's talk about that later. Any other good things?
Yeah. I got Wesley's jumper, so we got another jumper, which is great.
Oh, okay. Right, you like
another
that.
jumper.
Okay. That's it? That's your last one?
There's a lot of nice, cool, fresh ideas in this episode that I like. So that's all I got to say about it. It was just like a good sort of step away from the previous 2 episodes. I thought, like I say, we're still growing and learning. We touched on it before with that.
Yeah.
How it is and how that person said about the episode. I think it just definitely goes to show that there's a little bit more growth and progression happening in this episode. Even though it's crazy, you can see people are starting to get their footing a bit more in what their characters are about. Yeah,
I think the production values and the acting is getting better, but the writing is a bit, so
all over
dated.
the place at the minute.
Yeah, it's still all over the place. I did have a thought, because at one moment, and I don't think it's justified, the episode doesn't justify this, but Picard is essentially, for a few minutes, in the position that the Voyager starship will be in, except the distance is longer. And then I thought to myself, imagine if TNG went this way, and for the next 7 years they're just trying to get back in the same way, but with the TNG crew instead. But they're like 300 years away in other galaxies. The mind explodes at the potential of what they could like drum up in terms of visual effects and crazy aliens, because that part of the galaxy is not supposed to be explored yet.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I've got some nitpicks. I mean, you've kind of done some nitpicking as well, but I've got 2 nitpicks that we can pick apart. One, how is Wesley getting it, but the engineer doesn't? When Kozinski comes down, he starts like, blah, 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 gobbledygook. And Wesley's like, oh, yeah, well, if you do that on the screen and the warp factor and da-da-da. And the engineer's like, you're speaking gibberish. That's it. I'm like, okay. It's like it's trying to show there. It's trying to lay the groundwork that Wesley is like shit hot. You haven't really justified it. It's just,
he's like super
it's so
intelligent.
haphazard.
He's above everybody.
The other nitpick I had was the engineer. He was Scottish, and it just makes me think: does Starfleet only have Scottish chief engineers? And it's a bit of a limited.
That's where they get all the best engineers from.
Quite possibly. I mean, Scotland invented education. I don't know if you know that. The first public schools ever were in Scotland. But isn't it like a racist stereotype? All the engineers be Scottish? It's just weird. You could have had an Indian guy, but there we are. You're getting that joke?
No.
Lots of Indian guys are engineers. Dude, lots of Indian guys are engineers. So I'm just swapping one stereotype for another. In the aim of being progressive, because skin tone matters. Bad things. Let's get to bad things, dude. What did you absolutely fucking hate about this episode?
Kozinski was just a bit on the nose, and he was a bad guy straight away. And everyone, it's just like, you have to hate this guy. He was written to be hated. Yes. There was no redeeming factor of this. The only thing that I liked about that was like the fact that he slowly becomes an idiot. So you just know that he's doing nothing. It's just his assistant that's doing all the shit. And he slowly becomes more apparent that he's a moron.
Yeah, he's not the greatest actor, is he? Terrible. And It reminded me actually of a Cantonese actors. I know you've never watched them, but if you ever jump on YouTube and type Canto drama, the way they emote, they have to tell you how they're emoting. And it's similar to what the actor was doing. Oh, I need to look worried. I need to look shocked.
Yeah.
I need to look happy. It's just so blunt. And that's what the typical TV drama That's the level of their ability with the acting. And
Yeah.
oh, okay, it's like Cantonese pop drama, Canto dramas. You have to hate this guy, and then he's kind of like, "Oh, come on, you can join in. You're all right, actually." And the Traveler's like, come on, join in with happy thoughts. Get me there."
Yeah, the Traveler's doing everything. It's just
Yeah, isn't it obvious? It's so weird. And like, why is the engineer in Riker listening to this guy speak gobbledygook?
Listen to this guy, waffle on about absolutely nothing.
Right, and then I'm thinking, why is the Traveler with him? But they kind of answer the question later on in the episode. But the two seem an unlikely pairing. A really nice Traveler guy, who's saying nice things about everybody, right?
Yeah,
overly nice,
especially Wesley. Right,
especially to Wesley, because he's going to groom him. He literally grooms him by the end of season 7, and then you got Kowalski.
Did he say at one point, like, "I've been searching the whole galaxy for you, Wesley"?
I don't remember if he says it in this episode, but he really does have a hard-on for Wesley. What else did you like about this episode?
I haven't got many things I didn't like about this. Just the on-the-nose Kozinski stuff. There wasn't much I didn't like. I quite enjoyed this episode for what it was. It was just a bit of fun, and it was progressive for the characters. So, and I liked everything visually about it. So, yeah. Okay.
There's one thing I thought you'd pick up on.
Oh, you're going to say something about the bloody thing. Yeah. Okay.
About about his mum.
Yeah.
Picard's mum, right? So this is the episode that is contradicted in season 2 of Picard.
Okay.
Because he can see his mum, and his mum is an old biddy. But his mum in the TV show hangs herself, and she's like mid-30s. And Picard has never had a mummy issue. He never goes on to express any sort of mummy issues. And I'm thinking, how did they get away with this? So I did some reading, and basically it says here, and I don't like this, fucking hate it. The scene where Picard's mother appeared and offered him tea and a chat will be brought up in Hide and Seek, the Picard episode, where it was revealed that Yvette suffered from severe mental illness that she refused to treat, and her struggle with it would eventually lead Yvette to commit suicide in the 2310s, something which Picard blamed himself for as a child. This led him to often imagine what his mother wouldn't have been like had she survived to an older age, a thought from which here becomes reality for a moment. So they're re-engineering this episode so it fits in with the continuity of Picard. They're trying to say that basically ever since she died as a young woman, he's always tried to imagine her as an older woman. So that's why she's here. Get the flying fuck out of here with your bullshit. Sweet old lady.
We don't have to count season 2 of Picard or 1. We just sort of look at season 3 as a cool send-off. Season 3 was a cool send-off for the TNG crew.
If you say so.
Which I'm not. Well, yeah, I do. I do, but like,
I do actually.
I feel like they're also going to ruin it, probably, because I've heard rumors and rumblings that they're going to try and do a Picard film, which is just fucking ridiculous. Please no. Like, why?
You notice the thumbs up isn't on, by the way.
I've noticed. Yeah,
I turned it off. I figured out how to turn it off midstream. So 2 more things that I didn't like, and they kind of go together, and it sums up the episode in terms of writing, because we're being told Wesley is special, but we're not told exactly how he's special, other than you've got to get him through Starfleet, okay? And he gets like a promotion just because he held the Traveler's hand and he says, "He's my friend." Right? Okay. This leads me to the beginning of the episode, where when they traveled the first time, before they jump crazily into like super far away, why are they upset? Why are we operating on the notion that they can't get back immediately? Oh, we can't get back. This is problems for us. And if we send a communication, it's going to take 50 years. If we try and get back, it's going to take 300 years. Like, why are you giving me this information? Where is the open-mindedness to be like, holy shit, Kozinski did this, is amazing. Let's go and explore over there. What the fuck is that? Oh my God, let's check that out. Instead, they're arguing and bickering, and Data is at the back like, we could go outside and explore, and they don't.
Kozinski says this at one point. He's like, we should take this opportunity to do this or whatever. But that's what I found funny, because Picard is just like shut him down straight away, and he's like, so to whom? To where? What are we gonna do?
Why has he got this pessimistic attitude? Explore while they get the engines back online. There's nothing to say that they can't get back, and they're just adding on all these issues for us to consider. Like, oh my God, they're in terrible danger, but there's no actual danger. They haven't supposed anything or suggested anything of the opposite not happening.
If they're out there, you'd be kind of a little bit concerned if you were like a crew member. You'd be like, we're so far away. What the fuck?
Yeah, but like, let's pretend like you're going to get driving lessons. Let's pretend you go driving somewhere and you drive too far. Let's say your partner's asleep and you're like, oh, where am I? You're not going to be like, oh no, how do we not get back? you just like pull up the map and then you're like, okay, I've got to take a left turn here. Go down the A road.
It's a little bit of a different situation from being like 300 million light years away or whatever the fuck.
I know, but it hasn't justified itself. That's what I'm saying, basically. It just seems incredulous that they just automatically switch on the pessimism. They'd be like, Kozinski, you asshole, how do we get back? And he's like, but I haven't said we couldn't. He never gets a chance to say we can't get back.
Okay, yeah.
That's all. It's just they just jumped the gun in order to get us to like make sure that there's now drama on this episode. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some quotes and then I've got 7 fun facts and then I'm pretty much okay with wrapping this up. Wesley says, "He's my friend." Terrible dialogue. Kozinski, when he's got some sass, he says, "How basic shall I be today?" The Zoomers, they say, "Oh, it's pretty basic." You know, we use it as a prerogative.
He's a traveler from this crappy. He's a traveler from this crappy time period now that we're in.
How basic shall I be? I kind of like his cavalier attitude, actually. And the traveler says something really thought-provoking. He says, "Thought is the essence of where you are now." And I was like, oh, that's hot shit. And it reminded me of another quote that I've got here, which is not Star Trek related, which is really fucking deep. "You'll never outperform your belief systems." I can't remember who said it, but I wrote it down. "You'll never outperform your belief systems." And that just gets me right here and here.
You should put that first one on a wall in your new place.
Thought is the essence of where you are now.
Yeah,
it's deep, man. That quote is deep.
Oh, deep.
We've got 5 minutes and I've got 7 fun facts.
Okay.
I already told you the director quit. Cocoon the Return. That's number 1. Worf's Targ was played by a Russian wild boar named Emily Lou. Had a name. That's kind of weird. Fun fact number 3. In the original teleplay, Kozinski was responsible for both the warp effect and the accident. He also had a son who felt his father was more interested in his work than him. The hallucinations were much more bizarre than in the final episode. Jack Crusher appeared to Beverly and Picard, and the Enterprise appeared inside a cosmological egg. When the starship escaped, it exploded and caused the birth of a new universe. And as a sort of biblical pun, the Enterprise spends 6 days missing, and on the 7th day, Picard orders the day to be a rest day. So much weirder. This episode was nominated for an Emmy Award. Check that shit out.
What, for visual stuff, I'm guessing?
No, for sound mixing, because you can't hear the floorboards of the fucking Enterprise D bridge.
All right, okay.
The Lieutenant Commander Argyle, the Scottish engineer, he was actually considered to be the permanent chief engineer of the show. And the woman doing the ballet, dancing by the way, was once the long-term girlfriend of Lawrence Fishburne. And now sadly that woman has Parkinson's. Okay. Diagnosed with Parkinson's 18 years ago. Yeah. And the director of this episode, as I mentioned at the beginning, he did Reign of Fire, Elektra, and loads of episodes of The X-Files. He was also the voice of the Borg in season 2. And on his first day of work, Rick Berman mistook him for a pizza delivery guy. And if you see the photos on the website, he's wearing a baseball cap and he's got that classic sort of 70s porno slug right here. So I'm not surprised. He looks like a pizza delivery guy.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are my 7 fun facts. Okay. Wow. Anything else? Anything you want to wrap it up with?
No, I just enjoyed the episode and I enjoyed just the wackiness and the craziness of it. I'm disappointed. We could have had more crew members having random thoughts. I wanted maybe some Riker thoughts for once. I want to see deep inside that guy's head. Maybe Geordi as well. Get him going. You know, at this point they probably could do Data because they didn't know what the hell was going on with Data at that point, so they could do some stuff with him. Even though he's an android, but they didn't know what is going on with him, so they just do anything with him.
I wonder if with Riker, if he shares his thoughts, the episode is not going to be family friendly anymore, right? And with Geordi,
well, yeah, that's what I mean. You have to shove him in a room.
But with Geordi's thoughts, what would he actually display? What would he actually manifest? Because he can't see he sees like a predator, so he's just going to see heat signatures and weird readouts and stuff, isn't he? We're kind of cool though.
Yeah, we'll see that.
So overall,
we'll see that.
Enjoyed
we'll
it.
Get the creepy predator laugh. Yeah.
Want some candy?
Yeah.
You don't get that reference, do you? Fuck you. Overall, you enjoyed it.
I do. Predator. Okay. You weirdo.
What are you talking about? The episode or Predator?
Predator.
I'm talking about this episode. Overall, you enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not as funny as The Last Outpost.
No way near, no.
Like I wouldn't show anybody this episode. I'd show them The Last Outpost for pure cheese. I'd get them episode 5 instead of episode 6. To introduce them to TNGs, the show and everything. That's what I would do.
I don't know. This episode, I think this is a good introduction.
To what?
To the show.
Oh, really? We've got 1 minute left.
Yeah. Okay. There is a slight delay in
Yeah.
our audio, but yeah.
Kind of annoying. Okay, so let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
For the listeners, we are going to do a mid-season sort of break where we're going to share our reviews or review numbers, review scores for these episodes. I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't given any of these a score yet. We'll wait till the halfway mark after episode 13, and then we'll do it again at the end of the season. So, Adam, thank you for your time, and see you next time.